Steps of Bayside High School is where our story begins. Here's where we meet a small group of friends. So they share stories about things that should and should not be done throughout one's life, and the things that cause and bring upon strife. First we meet Jessica, nicknamed Voltron. A small young girl, and lust is what her story touched on. A petite girl she was, or everyone thought. The desires of the heart is a pitfall, is what her story taught. Next we meet Tyler, a quite dashing young man. It seemed that every young lady turned into his fan, but Tyler was filled with rage. It wasn't hard to tell. A wrathful young man with a wrathful story as well. Sonny, an interesting young lad. No one could seem into him find any bad. Not from afar or from a close distance. His story brings out the illusion of one's appearance. Then there was Joaquin, average, not extreme, level-headed and kind of mellow. His story shows damage of what lies below. All these young people entertain each other with their tales, but these kids should soon be hit with hail, because this is what we call a satirical device, when someone will refuse to take their own advice.
I know it's unfair, and it's more than I can bear. It's sinful and disgusting, but I cannot stop this lusting. I'm not the only one. There are plenty of us for the Lord to shun. But an empty soul such as mine needs to feel whole, needs to shine. Your opinion of me may worsen, but am I really such a bad person? Looking for love in all the wrong places. I've seen so many beautiful faces. What is love? Now there's something to think of. They say God is love, that love comes from above. Could that be the truth? I won't believe it until I have proof. Lust and love, they aren't so different. They are both, at the same time, pleasant and puissant. It is easy to crumble under the power of each. Go mad, your sanity just out of reach. I'll tell you a story of a forlorn relationship. There was a waiter, beautiful and shy. She couldn't help but smile when a man walked by. Happily married, living a lovely life. Couldn't help but cause grief and strife. Her passions she couldn't control, that's for sure. A wave of emotions crashed over her. She feels guilty, feels rueful, her life becoming dreadful. As her husband looks away, she falls into the arms of dismay. Her work shift is over, she thinks of a cover. She calls her husband, dials his number. He says it's alright, he'll always love her. As she hears his voice, she's left with the choice, to cheat once again, or be faithful till the end. She chooses what's wrong, and stays out all night long. She's with another man, and yet her eyes still scan. She's never satisfied with what she's got, her soul has begun to rot. That night with her newfound lover, she'll forever try to keep undercover. As they're in the covers, intertwined, the thought of her husband pops up in the back of her mind. Her perfect, reliable, always faithful husband. Visions of them walking hand in hand. Amongst her lies and her fables, the life they had become unstable. She couldn't believe how wrong this was, how she did this just because. Her vows were broken and left unspoken. Her body now shared among many, a token. A faint blue of morning illuminates the sky. As she creeps into the house, her husband turns a blind eye. He knows all too well, but he shall never tell, that her misdeeds are not unknown. She comes to bed, quickly falls asleep. She's a different person. Her husband begins to weep. I end the story here. I know it's all wrong, but I still can't go on. Leading life this way, there's no need to fret. I'm not that cruel yet.
All right, Bailiff. Send in the next one. All rise. The state of Nevada versus Jane West, case number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jane, what are you doing in my courtroom? He said, well, as you know, sweetie, just because you're my daughter, I will not take it easy on you. I am the long arm of the law, and I intend to keep it this way. I have made a reputation for myself and do not intend to soil it. And after careful consideration, I sentence you to the heart. I sentence you to life at San Quentin doing hard labor. I died on your own blood. You shouted that before you broke the law. Now you common criminal, I banish you. You'll miss the sunshine. We know how you shot that man in Reno, just to watch him die. You'll wear chains on a Monday, and your trial will be held on Tuesday. Your chains will drag you down, and on Monday, your mom will come to see you, and now my gavel shall fall. I hope you learned from this. I love you. Now, bailiff, bring in the next two. Now you may wonder why I do this, why I am so callous and cruel. My family has left, my career is in tatters, I carry the banners of my sins. This is my story, and I'm sorry for the Johnny Cash references. I'm fairly rash, but I'm no good at rhyming and fairly poor timing.
I especially enjoyed your story about the judge. Karma stuck to him like a fingerprint smudge. Serves him right for being such an angry bat. And my story involves a trick of the hat. A story involving rage, but based off of jealousy. And a boy who loved a girl but failed to pursue her zealously. There was once a young man by the name of Tim. Tim was not dim, nor did he act off a whim. Tim had a friend whose name was Will. And they were friends through high school and remain friends still. But Tim had a secret, something deep inside. A piece of Tim has soon died. Tim had another friend, this one's named Jen. Tim had developed a love that was intensely strong. A love for Jen that he thought would never go wrong. But he held it inside because of fear of rejection from this young deer. He held this inside for a very long time until her face brought pain like sucking on a lung. He felt for Jen and did not let it. But Will didn't feel this feeling of shy. He felt for Jen and wouldn't let it die. He took Jen's hand and the courtship began. But hearing of this made Tim feel less of a man. He tried to fight it, hide this feeling, but he felt it as if his heart was peeling. Still he held his tongue when her he was among, and when amongst Will he held his face still. Day by day he longed for her. Day by day he yearned for her purr. Day by day he wanted her touch. Day by day he desired her clutch. With each passing minute he wanted her more, until it felt as if his heart had literally torn. However, he said nothing. In silence he suffered, until his jealousy mixed with rage had puffed. To celebrate a year of escaping high school, they scheduled a road trip, thinking it'd be cool. This trip would lead to Vegas, the capital sin city. Little did they know that things would soon get gritty. While on the road, Will and Jim were all lovey-dovey, ignorant to the fact that it made Tim bubble. Till they finally arrived in this new town, yet Tim could not help but frown. He drops off Will and Jen but asks to speak with Jen. She agreed unaware of what feelings had been. He told her everything, whatever he thought he said. Hopefully it would provide him with some sort of med, because his jealousy had formed an illness, and he hoped that this new form of realness would provide some kind of release on the contracts. Her reply took away more than a piece of his heart. She loved her from the start, but now she loved Will. She felt for him still, but she made a decision, and that decision was the other, the one whom Tim had once considered a brother. This amplified a feeling he had not made accustomed, but her words to his face had seemed to bust him. Jen removed herself, and Tim drove on, found a local bar, and went in headlong. He drowned out his thoughts, but that didn't work. It intensified his pain, multiplied the hurt. But his glass had no bottom, and the alcohol had got him. This sent him into a drunken rage. This is what sets the stage. He drove back to the motel where he had dropped him off. He reached into the glove box and got him. Dropped him off bed. He reached into the glove box and got a modern mafia bag. A 9mm pistol offered solace. His face was stone cold, showing only malice. He walked into the room where they were staying. Will was sitting while Jim was laying. Tim had the gun in his belt strap. He was drunk. Tears began to fill his eyes like a tap. He pulled out the gun and pointed at his once friend. He said, "I loved her from the beginning, and I love her till the end." Will was now standing across from Tim. Panic welled in both of them. Soon Tim broke the silence and spoke again. "If I can't have her, no one can." A flashing light and the gun popped. Tim then expectantly Will dropped. Jim was by his side in a second. She had been silent until the firearm beckoned. Tim looked up and saw a face he didn't recognize. He soon realized, but it resembled one he had memorized. He soon realized that this was a mirror. He now realized the weight of his air. He lifted the gun and put it up to under his chin, burst into tears and then pulled the trigger again. The story ends with a murder-suicide. This just goes to show jealousy grows like a pest inside. Now I've told you my story about the young man who died, a sad tale in which Jessica was cried. I have seen it unfold in real life. Friends bend against each other, one pointing a knife. Jealousy is the root of all evil, so I harbor it none and hold my heart still.
This may come as a shock to the nation, but cheating people out of money is my occupation. Money talks and I have my master's communication. It isn't a laughing matter, no it isn't funny, but but when it all falls down, I'm getting my money. I'll take it from everybody, women and children too, but my chosen pathway is what you shouldn't do. If you give me a little of your time, I'll tell you a story about how being a con man is only something for me. I once knew a man who set out a plan. Now this plan was to con another man and gain a grant. Little did he know this rich man also had a plan. See, he was a fan and imitated him now and again. To sum it up, this con fan planned to con the con man. The con man grinned a slick grin. He said, let's talk business, you and I then. The rich man, set on gaining more money, said, any business with you better not be funny. Oh, of course not, said the con man. I only intend to sell you this buy. The robot was old, the robot was smoke. The robot was cheap, the robot was broke. Ah, this is what you were looking for, yes, the con man suggests. Oh yes, the very best. I'll give you 10 grand for him, nothing more, nothing less. The rich man felt excitement in his chest. He thought, I'll give him all of the fake money in my vest, and then I'll fix this bot up until it shimmers and sell it to the highest bidder. The con man knew he was rolling in the cash. Maybe he hit up a brothel, buy him an ashtray. For lack of better verbs, that was a play on words. But the amount of money he was getting was unheard. The transaction was made and the deed was done. Both of the con men had their fun. Little did they know they conned themselves. The money that was fake was switched out by his wife, and the robot that was old had a priceless piece inside. So practically each person had came into the deal and left all the same. No money was lost and no money was gained. This is the life of a con man, a path less taken, for he is forsaken. This is the curse of a world-class grifter.
No.
I was arrested for excessive speed and That's all.
Go.
But I'm no good at rhyming and I'm fairly poor at timing.
Oh!
If you give me a little of your time, I'll tell you a story about how being a con man is only something for me. I saw you having a reflection. Is it now?